Okay, it looks like we're ready to get started. My name is Matilda Reckford. I work with the EHLS program at the Center for Applied Linguistics, and I'm joined today by Dr. Kevin Gormley from the Defense Language and National Security Education Office. During this webinar, we're going to talk about the English for Heritage Language Speakers program, what to expect during the academic program and after EHLS once you start fulfilling the service requirement. Throughout our presentation, you can ask questions by typing them in the Q&A box, and we'll try to answer them after our presentation. Let me do an overview of the EHLS program before we dive in deeper. EHLS is a scholarship program with a focus on professional English communication skills and career skills. The program trains advanced speakers of English to be effective communicators and strong candidates for federal jobs. Every scholar admitted to the program receives a full scholarship funded by the federal government. The program runs from January through each summer. Participants are native speakers of critical languages who have a strong interest in public service. EHLS scholars come from varied cultural, educational, and professional backgrounds, but they're all united by an interest in and a commitment to public service. Why EHLS? EHLS was established because critical language skills are in high demand in the US government. There are other government-sponsored programs to teach critical languages to native English speakers, but this is the only program designed to prepare individuals with native knowledge of critical languages for the federal workplace. EHLS is an initiative of the Defense Language and National Security Education Office, or DLNSEO. DLNSEO provides program support and funding. EHLS started in 2006, and 2027 will be the 21st program year. Scholarships for the EHLS program are awarded through the Defense Language and National Security Education Office. Each scholarship provides full tuition and fees for the academic program, in addition to a living stipend that's $3,600 per month of the program. Scholarship supplements will be available upon request by awardees for partial financial support of relocation costs, health insurance, and technology, including program laptops. Participants also receive a certificate from DLNSEO upon successful completion of the program. By the time you are finished with the EHLS program, you will have compiled a beautiful professional portfolio that includes a well-polished resume, writing samples, US government scale English and heritage test scores, and a certificate from the EHLS program that opens many doors. Scholars must agree to the terms that we have outlined here. That's full-time attendance and successful completion of the academic program, agreement not to work during the academic program, and acceptance of a service requirement after completing the academic program. In terms of eligibility, you must be a US citizen at the time of application. You must be a native speaker of one of the languages listed here, and you must have professional level proficiency in that language. You must have advanced proficiency in English. Your proficiency in both English and your native language will be formally tested, and we'll discuss some of that in our presentation. You must have a college degree that's at least a bachelor's degree. You must be able to use the internet, word processing programs, and PowerPoint. You must be able to commit to full-time participation in the program, and you must be willing to work for the federal government for 1 year in a position with national security responsibilities. It will be your responsibility to find that position. Now, we're going to share more with you about the academic component of the EHLS program. We're going to talk about the goals, the structure and schedule, and a bit about the curriculum of the program. The goals of the EHLS program involve both improving English language skills and also developing and honing the professional skills that are needed within the federal workplace. In the academic program, we work to meet these goals by really providing extensive practice and guidance with all 4 language skills in English, so reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We also work on your professional skills, such as resume writing, dressing for success, delivering a 1 to 2 minute elevator speech, interviewing skills, and appropriately navigating different hierarchical workplace relationships. The EHLS program includes special features, a curriculum that focuses on professional English skills for federal government purposes, guest speakers that come to teach, for example, how to write a federal style brief. Writing in our program is very different from academic writing. And we have the guest speakers that also teach how to deliver an oral brief to a high-level government official. The Analysis Project, or OSAP, is our capstone project, and we will talk a little bit more about the OSAP later. And then we also have guest recruiters from different agencies that come to speak about the opportunities in their agencies. Your EHLS coursework will include the courses that are outlined here: reading and writing for professionals, professional oral communication, news analysis, and career skills development. In the reading and writing class, you will learn how to write reports and do research, drawing sound analytic conclusions. In the professional oral communication, or POC class, you're making presentations on a daily basis, and these are often recorded so that the instructor and also the scholars have the opportunity to review them after the fact and make comments and feedback for you to review when you watched your own taped presentation. The program culminates in a capstone activity, which I've just mentioned, the OSAP. Part of this activity is a formal presentation. By the time the OSAP presentations come around, our scholars' delivery of their capstone presentations are amazingly strong and very professional. Scholars are well prepared, having had so much practice over the course of the program, and everyone does amazingly well. In the news analysis class, you're assigned articles to read and taught how to do critical analysis of the news. Each scholar might, for example, report on a news piece from their area of the world to the entire class on any given day, providing a briefing, a summary, and an analysis of this article. The final class is the Career Skills Development course, and this course is developed to help scholars hone their professional skills to be successful in applying for and obtaining a position within the federal government that meets the service requirement, and to prepare to be successful in this position. I'd also like to highlight that in addition to these scheduled classes, there are individual tutorial sessions for 3 of the classes. That includes the reading and writing, professional oral communication, and the career skills development course. This allows us to provide a great deal of very tailored and very individualized feedback to each of the scholars. In the writing tutorial, you will get hands-on help with your writing challenges through one-on-one meetings with your instructors. And in the POC, the professional oral communication, and the career skills development tutorials, you'll receive individualized feedback and guidance on your oral presentation skills and also your career development skills, your professional skills. So all this is very tailored to help you on working on your resume, cover letters, and identifying possible jobs to apply for. In addition to the classes we mentioned before, there's the Career Skills class. In this course, you'll become very comfortable sending emails in English and will understand the proper format and protocol that is expected of you in this type of writing. You will learn negotiation skills as well as how to run an effective meeting. You will have a beautifully perfected resume to submit to future employers. Throughout the course, we also have mock interviews, and we even have agency representatives come and do these practice interviews with you and to provide feedback. We even discuss things such as how to effectively prepare for an interview. You'll also be working with the instructor to develop different career skills, such as using the online tools to help your job search, evaluating different positions as you find them online or through networking, researching different agencies to learn more about what they do and the types of opportunities that they have for you, preparing targeted documents to apply for positions, targeted cover letters and resumes, and other supporting documentation. Now let's talk about some expectations during the program. We do expect and require that all scholars actively participate in all classes, tutorials, and other activities as scheduled. The program itself is very intensive, and scholars are expected to participate in the program every day, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. So it's really the same time commitment as a full-time job. We also require that scholars participate actively in all activities and complete assigned tasks and assignments by the due dates. One question we often get is in regards to homework. Is there homework? And yes, there is indeed homework. So scholars can expect to spend 2 to 3 hours in the evening on homework and also time over the week working on activities to prepare for the next week. So it is not the case that once a scholar is done with classes at 5 o'clock, he or she is done for the day. There is additional work to be completed. So what does a daily schedule might look like? So here you can see an example. As you can see, it's a full-time, all-day program. So this is just an example, but your day might start from 9 to 10 with individual tutorials, and then going into different classes, and then having more tutorials throughout the day, and then finishing out the day with additional coursework. So it really is a very busy day. Your classes might not be in this exact order, but this gives you an idea of what your day might look like. And then here you can see what an overall week might look like. You can see that there are activities scheduled for you Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday from 10 to 12, for example. You might have your professional oral communication skills course, followed by a brief time for lunch. And then in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, you would have your reading and writing course, followed by your news analysis course at the very end of the day. And you can see in this sample schedule that the career skills course meets once a week on Wednesdays, and then on Friday morning, there could be an iteration of our guest speaker series, an introduction to the federal government, which our colleague Kevin from DLNSEO will share a bit more about in a few slides. This is an event where we have guest speakers address the scholars to share more about their agencies and answer questions about the agencies. You can also note here that there is part of this weekly schedule that is highlighted in a purple color. These are times when tutorials are scheduled. Each week, there are 3 different individual tutorials with a faculty member. Each scholar will have an individual schedule, and tutorials could happen at any point during these shaded purple areas. As we have seen, the program is very intensive, and scholars are expected to participate in the program every day, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. So it really is the same time commitment as a full-time job. You actually sign an agreement that you will not be working during this time, and it would be nearly impossible to hold a job, even a part-time job, and also successfully complete the intensive program. During this time, you may also not be enrolled in another academic program. And we've mentioned a little bit before about the OSAP, the Open Source Analysis Project. So let me talk a little bit more about it. So this is our capstone project. It's a analytical research assignment. Scholars will be working on this project for several months, and this is your chance as an EHLS scholar to show off your knowledge and skills. You will work with a federal agency mentor on a topic that is provided by them specifically for you. Perhaps your mentor is an expert in that area of the world, but does not have the native language capacity and the cultural knowledge that you as a native speaker might have. You would provide that knowledge in doing research, and you are an asset to them, to the mentor. You get to do research on the topic in your native language and other languages that you know that are related to the topic and the geographic area. For example, past scholars from the Maghreb have done their research in Arabic, French, and Tamashek. The research culminates in a final written analytic briefing and a formal symposium presentation at the end of the program. Some scholars even get job offers as a result of their OSAP research and presentation. Many scholars bring copies of their written report to the symposium to give out to interested members of the audience. And after the symposium, they are often invited to give these presentations on site at their mentors' agencies. I wanted to mention some additional expectations that we have of scholars. We have found that scholars who meet these expectations are very successful, not just within the academic component of the EHLS program, but in securing professional jobs in the federal government and meeting the service requirement after the program. The first of these expectations is goals. It's very important for scholars to have goals, both language goals and also professional goals, and that these goals are realistic. Having a strong level of motivation is also very important to the success of an EHLS scholar. This is a very intensive program, and in many cases, scholars have to put their family, their friends, and other activities on hold while they are completing all of the activities required in the program. This can become challenging, and having a strong motivation to complete the program to meet the specific goals is very helpful in working through tough times, times that can get very intense and often a bit stressful in the program. We know that in order to achieve the goals of the program, it's not enough to just do the work that happens in the classroom, and even at home as homework and outside activities. Being open to independent learning outside of the classroom and outside of exactly what the instructor has assigned as homework is very helpful to be successful in the program. And then the last two areas are related. Within the program, all of the activities require a great deal of collaboration. And I mean this in terms of scholars collaborating with the instructor to work together as partners to grow and develop skills, but also collaboration with other scholars. A great deal of the work that scholars will be doing is pair work and group work and working together as teams. This very much reflects the type of work and tasks that scholars would be assigned to perform within a position in the government. So we're looking for scholars who are really very open and very willing to collaborate and work with others. During the program, instructors will be providing a great deal of feedback to scholars to help scholars grow and develop. This is very, very tailored and very individualized feedback. Instructors really are there to work to help meet each scholar where he or she is and help them continue to grow their skills. This is only possible if scholars are willing to incorporate this feedback. Importantly, scholars will also be getting feedback from other scholars, and it's very helpful when scholars are willing to accept and also incorporate feedback that they will be receiving from other scholars in the program who are really almost like colleagues within this program. And now we will move on to talking about the service requirement.
Hi, I'm Kevin Gormley with DLNSEO. I am the director of the EHLS program for the Department of War. The EHLS service requirement has a one-year term. That means you have 1 year of full-time service after you complete the EHLS program. You begin this service anytime within 3 years of graduating from the program. We have two broad tiers of service listed here in descending order of preference. Tier 1 is with the Department of War, Homeland Security, the Department of State, and the intelligence community. Any position within these organizations can fulfill the service requirement. Tier 2 is work in the greater federal government. These positions are looked at on an individual basis to determine if they're related to national security. Tier 1 includes our 4 priority areas. EHLS scholars are required to begin their job search within these departments. Any civilian, military, or foreign service position within these departments will count towards your requirement. They don't necessarily need to be language-enabled positions. Scholars work in varied fields, including cyber, finance, acquisitions, in addition to foreign affairs. We encourage you to think broadly about where you may be able to apply your skills. Please note, as far as the State Department is concerned, we are not a stepping stone to a foreign service officer position. The Department of State is mainly interested in EHLS scholars who fill language instructor positions at the Foreign Service Institute, for example. This is where most of our scholars have landed jobs in the Department of State. Additionally, any position in the U.S. Armed Forces will satisfy your service requirement. In the services, there are often pathways for language training, language bonus pay, and language-enabled positions. There are also many opportunities for civilian employment afterwards. If you're unable to find a suitable position within Tier 1, you can then expand your job search to include positions in Tier 2, positions in the greater federal government with national security responsibilities. Some past scholars had found jobs in other agencies, but the positions needed to have national security responsibility, and it was up to the scholar to make that case to the National Security Education Program, NSEP. We have past scholars who fulfilled their service requirement at the Department of Commerce's International Trade Administration, at the Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign and Asset Control, for example. Here's other eligible service areas that we want to bring to your attention as well. After finishing the EHLS program, you could look at internships within the federal government. There are recent graduate programs if you've recently graduated from a higher educational program. You're also eligible to look for positions within federal contractors working with Tier 1 agencies. Contract 1 with a Tier 2 agency cannot count towards the service requirement. That said, any position with a federal contractor that you're interested in fulfilling your service requirement through, we do look at those on a case-by-case basis. You must still make a good faith effort to find a federal position in Tier 1 or Tier 2. Keep in mind that volunteer work in any of these tiers can count towards your service requirement. I also want to bring to your attention that while many jobs are here in the Washington, D.C. area, there are jobs all over the world where you can fulfill your service requirement. The cities marked here are examples of where EHLS scholars have fulfilled their service requirement, but you could possibly work at a U.S. embassy or a consulate office or at a military base nearly anywhere in the world. There are many opportunities of where you could work to fulfill your service requirement. As we mentioned within the program, we have guest speakers from various federal agencies who come to the EHLS program to speak to you about job opportunities. Many of them are interested in hiring scholars in the EHLS program, and we have a relationship with a broad set of federal agencies and federal contractors who are interested in hiring EHLS scholars. This program exists for a reason. It exists because people like you are needed to help support national security. One of the best parts of being an NSEP award recipient is that you are entitled to 2 specific hiring authorities that most other applicants for federal hiring do not have. The majority of other folks applying to federal jobs do not have these unique hiring authorities. The NSEP special hiring authorities help you get your foot in the door to federal employment more easily. you can and should use them to apply to NSEP exclusive positions. These are positions that we post on a portal for NSEP award recipients exclusively. And you can use them, and you can also use these hiring authorities on USA job positions you apply for. NSEP is able to work with federal agencies to post exclusive jobs because of these hiring privileges. Essentially, these privileges allow government agencies to directly appoint someone to a position instead of having to publicly post a job on USA Job. This also grants agencies the ability to create positions through networking. There are two hiring authorities available to you, which are the NDA 13 and the Schedule A subparagraph R. Only organizations with designated national security responsibility can hire using NDAA 13. This includes all Tier 1 agencies and some components of our Tier 2 agencies. These authorities help you get through the door to federal employment much more quickly. All federal agencies can use the Schedule A subparagraph R authority. NSEP exclusive jobs commonly utilize the NDA 13 authority, although some use Schedule A subparagraph R. While both are advantageous, the NDAA 13 authority is much more beneficial if you would like to stay in your federal job long term. This is because NDAA 13 allows for your agency to convert you to a competitive service after 2 years of continuous work, meaning you are closer to becoming a career status tenured federal employee. So here's the big question. Who finds this job for me? Well, it's going to be your responsibility to find a job that helps fulfill your service requirement, but we have a large team of people at DLNSEO who are behind you and help to support you through the process of fulfilling the service requirement so that you're not left on your own. After the EHLS program, you're not alone. You have DLNSEO helping you. You have exclusive job opportunities and career advising that's available through a website portal where we have an entire set of information and opportunities for you to report your service that you've fulfilled. We have exclusive career fairs at federal agencies. We provide letters of certification that you can provide to potential employers that say you're a graduate of the EHLS program. And these also list your hiring privileges that I just mentioned earlier. We create a share of resources on NSEPnet about federal careers and fulfilling service. And we can provide service requirement guidance and consultation. And you have lots of support. We have lots of support to help you. Many people ask, will I need to get a security clearance to obtain a job working in the federal government? First, you don't have to have a security clearance before you apply for a job. Not all jobs require a security clearance. All jobs do require a basic background check, but you'll see in the job posting if the position requires a security clearance. There are 3 different levels. There's confidential, secret, and top secret. Keep in mind that it's only the federal government that can provide a clearance, adjudicate, and finalize the process of awarding a security clearance. Applicants do not need a security clearance before starting the program. EHLS does not give participants security clearances. The security clearance process is handled by agencies in the hiring process. Your security clearance can take several months and, depending on your background, possibly over a year. Some of the things they'll look at is residence, education, foreign connections, and your finances. Also, while illegal drug use is looked at, it depends on how long it's been and what was involved. You can ask the organization that has the position description more details if you're interested after you finish the EHLS program. While you are abroad, you cannot be applying for positions that require a security clearance. We have many EHLS scholars who take a break after they completed the program, and they may go abroad to visit family, which is why we want to emphasize that. For more information, see the EHLS Security Clearance Information document on our website and consult the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency website. Finally, let's talk about how to be a successful and competitive applicant. The goal of the EHLS program is to train advanced English speakers to be effective communicators and strong candidates for federal jobs. The question that you're going to find in the application is, how do you plan on fulfilling the service requirement? To answer this question, you should describe your long-term commitment to public service. Treat this essay question almost like you're applying for a job. Be specific about which positions you will pursue to fulfill your requirement. Instead of providing vague overviews of these positions, for example, foreign service, research how your EHLS experience will build your skills for a specific position and why you would be a good fit. Here are a few websites, including NSIP's annual report, that provide data on where awardees have fulfilled service that you might consider looking at as you're beginning the process of researching how you'll respond to that essay question, and looking at those specific jobs that you might be interested in. Now back to you, Matilda.
Great. We want to encourage you to subscribe to our email list and follow us on social media. We post some information about the program there, information about how to apply, and also information related to our in-person and virtual events. Here are some events that we want to draw your attention to. We'll have a live Q&A session next Thursday and a few other Thursday after that in May. This is kind of a open house style where we do a very brief presentation, but then we have way more time to really answer more questions that you may have, where we have enough time, to unmute you and you can ask your question live. And so highly recommend going to these live Q&A sessions if you have any questions, and often hearing other people's questions is very helpful as you're preparing to apply. And then we have two other types of webinars besides the one that we did today on what to expect during and after HLS. We have a general information webinar where we cover some of the curriculum kind of information, service requirement information, and then the applying to EHLS program, where we hold this webinar with our colleagues from IIE, the Institute of International Education, and we really go into detail about the portal and answer any questions you have on what to do with your transcript, evaluations, resume, any questions related to those. So definitely recommend you attending our future webinar on this. And I can say as of today as well that all three of these webinars will be today's webinar, and the two general information and applying to HLS will be now fully recorded webinars that will be available on the website for you to review at your own pace. So I recommend you checking out our recordings as well. And here's our contact information. So if you have any questions on the curriculum, schedule, questions about your OPI, scheduling, language testing, you can reach out to me, Matilda, and via email or via phone number. And you can also reach out to our colleague, Leah Ashdam at the Institute of International Education, IIE. Their email is iieus.org. And you can contact them for any questions related to, like I said, the online application system, any questions related to transcript, resumes, references, anything to do with the application. And that's it for our slides today. So I'll stop sharing. And if you have any questions you want to put in the Q&A, we can try to answer those. Um, let's see. When do you get notified to test for English after the application has been deemed complete? It's a great question because it should be happening around this time, or definitely towards the end of this month is when our colleagues at IIE are going to review every submitted application on a rolling basis, of course, because the deadline is not until June. But if you've submitted early, this is when they're going to start reviewing just to make sure it's complete. There might be a gap in information or something that's not clear or just they need clarifications from you, so they reach out if they need that. Otherwise, if it's complete on their end and there's at least one recommendation letter that's along with your application, then you will get notification for the English OPI. So for my short answer, I would say something, I would say like an end of this month should be when you do that.
Matilda, would you say it's usually 2 to 3 weeks after the application's been deemed complete?
After it's deemed complete, if there's a recommendation letter, that email that we send to you with the link on how to schedule your OPI is kind of sent right away. So it's pretty immediate, and then scheduling your test can take, we require a certain window. You can't just take your test the next day. So I think, yeah, if that answers.
Yeah.
Does an academic background, such as a degree in linguistics or a related field, qualify for a waiver for any required tests? So we don't have waivers for any tests. I know that there's, other tests out there and other things that can kind of, certify that you're either, a native speaker in the critical language that you're applying to, or, a proficient speaker in English. But what we have as a requirement is that the tests have to all be rated on the ILR scale. And so even another test that's in English that's not on the ILR scale, sometimes it's on the ACTFL scale, or IELTS, or tests like these are not accepted. It has to be on the ILR scale. We talk a little bit about this in the applying to EHLS webinar, which is recorded, that you can find on the website, and we have it also as just information part of the website. The the ILR scale is a government scale that is used to measure proficiency in different languages according to that scale, and so that's what we use. And I see another question whether we are sharing the slide deck. So we're not sharing the actual slide deck, but again, with the recording, you can kind of pause and review everything at your own pace. And as a follow-up to the question about the English OPI, yes, someone will contact you for the English test. So as soon as your application has been reviewed and deemed complete, then you receive an email with instructions on how to schedule the English test. And another question about the English OPI, is it face-to-face? So the oral proficiency interview is conducted over the phone, and it is proctored not face to face, it's proctored virtually. So you would meet with your proctor on Zoom, just like meeting with us now, and your proctor would verify your environment to make sure it's secure, and you would show them your ID kind of on the video there. And then once that part is done, you would conduct the test on an actual telephone. So we recommend that you be in the US when you're conducting that test, just because it's an actual, phone number that you have to call. We've had the case um, for different applicants that they have maybe um, been abroad when they need to take the OPI, and so they get an international phone plan for, that week. Um, just because it does need to be a telephone call that you need to be making for the test. Do participants receive academic credit or a program degree or certification upon completion? So the EHLS program is a non-credit, non-degree certificate program. So you receive a certificate, but it's a non-credit, non-degree program. Is there any criteria that may limit the scholarship? For example, limit 3 individuals for the same critical language. So no, no, there's no quota per language. So as long as your language is on the list, you're competing equally. So, there could be 5 Russian speakers, 8 Korean speakers. There's no limit within the 18 that make it in the program. We'll stay for just a few minutes if you have any more questions. Otherwise, we thank you um, for attending today's webinar, and we encourage you to watch the recording if if you want to see some of that information again. And definitely encourage you to reach out by email or by phone if there's any question that comes up after today.
And please apply.
And please apply. We look forward to seeing your applications. Great. Thank you. And we wish you a great day.